think no issues at all. There's no compulsions.
I feel that one starts the comparison aspect.
Okay. That's one part of it, correct?
No, I feel that leads to a chain, meaning once you compare with the past and then think what the future should be, you start to make all the actions according to that. Expectations are set. So all this is a very circular phenomenon which happens because you are having the continuity.
Right. That is also right. What is your thinking, Lata?
I'm still thinking.
Okay, think. Like I said, there is no need for me to keep on moving. Okay. It's all about investigation.
I'm just trying to think in the past, present, and future. You feel you are the same, meaning that you are the one who are experiencing all three.
No, that is
But
correct.
there is a difference. But there is a difference. In the past is different, present is different, and future is different. Is what we think.
Right.
So there is if in other ways you see that there is a change in you, because your past mindset is not same as your present mindset, and then the future mindset may be something different.
That's correct. But what is the result of that? What's the consequence of
I'm not able to get that.
Think. Or take whatever time you want. Both of you can take as much time. I have no urgency. What happens if you have a past, present, and the future? What really happens?
You will continue to exist in future.
Right? You continue to exist. That is also true. But what really happens as a consequence? What's the result of that? What really you feel?
You feel you will exist tomorrow also. You feel you have existed in the past, and you feel that you are existing now.
Right. So what is the consequence? You are again giving me the symptom. What is the result of that? Yes, we have understood a disease. Yes, agreed. What's the result of that?
you try to become something, you will still have, in future, if you project, then you will have all those future desires and all, and then again all that cycle starts.
Right. So, again, what's the consequence? There is
I'm not getting your question, the consequence meaning. That's
meaning, what is the
consequence,
result
right?
of that? Let's say I have my past and I have my present, I have my future. What it would lead to? It should be something it leads to, right?
Yeah, it leads to again the existence, maybe in this life, next life, all that.
Do you really feel like that? That's a theory. But
No,
really,
that's a theory.
but do you
Yes.
really feel like that right now, as we discuss, as what we did yesterday and what we are doing now and what will be doing?
Yes. Yeah. So maybe when you say the past, maybe that when you are existing, then all that anxiety, worry, and all will start. How the future will be or whatever. I don't know what you are asking as consequence,
I'm asking as a result.
as a result.
As a result.
Maybe Padma Shri can answer. I'm not able to get.
Okay. You both can try.
Is it the feeling of permanence?
Very good. Yes, that also is there. Very nice. Almost nailed it.
You feel you are eternal, no?
Yes, you try to see between your past, present, and future. That's what you will feel.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. So you feel you are going to always exist, come what may.
Come what may. So, to answer to that question, the result is security. The result of that is security. If you don't have past, you don't have future, you have only present, that makes it insecure. Agree?
Mm,
Or don't you agree?
I don't
Because
know.
I feel meaning security is the one which we fight for afterwards. Meaning, if you call that as a result, yes, one way it is called as a result. But when I say permanence, meaning that stability, permanence or stability. So the moment I think about stability, then I think what are the things which do not ensure my stability. Then I become insecure. Then I start to work for the security. So for the whole thing is the fact that I am basing that entire activity on the fact that I am permanent, and for that permanence I require stability. And if there are items in my surroundings which would cause instability, then I will become insecure. Then I will fight for the security aspect. So it's one kind of this one. Meaning, finally, fighting for security is the result of what you are saying. Yes, the meaning the continuity feeling of yesterday, today, and tomorrow leads you to the fact that you have to fight for security.
So isn't it more of a stability with us instead of security? Because if you feel that you have past, present, and future, and then you are eternal, then it gives stability, not security.
Sure. Because it gives you security, because the stability is already assumed to be there because of permanence. You don't go in search of stability, you go in search of security.
Lata, the way the result, why he's saying result is security, is that it makes you work for that security. Meaning, you are assuming permanence and stability. Hence, you also evaluate yourself about what is it that could disturb that, and then you start to feel that okay, these are the aspects that are going to disturb that. So you work for securing those aspects, and finally it becomes security. It results in security activities.
Okay, it is not security. You will not get security just because you know you have a past, present, and future. You get stability and then you go for security. You search for security. The end result is not security.
Yeah, the result is not security, meaning the result of this one is that we search for security.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let me answer it in a different way. Maybe I caused confusion in what I'm saying. If something is eternal or something is continuous in the waking state, when we are experiencing, it is eternal. Eternal comes when you have past and present and future. Otherwise, it's not eternal. I eternally exist tomorrow. I eternally exist now. And I eternally existed in the past. That sense of eternal feeling, what you get, has two dimensions to it. One is security and another one is stability. And we are search for both of them. We are not only search of one. We are in search of both of them. Since the mind assumes permanence, meaning since the continuity is there, it believes that it is already secure and hence stable. So the end result, that is when I feel that I have got what I wanted to get right now. Let's say I'm in search of a job and I got the job. So it immediately makes me feel secure, not stable. When I start working, the expectations what people have makes me again unstable. But the job getting on my hand with whatever salary I'd expected at that moment gives me security. And same thing with case of insurance, same thing with family, same thing with people, same thing with every given object we find, because all the sense objects which keeps on continuously appearing in the mind through the sense door gives that feeling of that it is stable. The wife and the husband and friend and colleague and all of those have past, present, future. So my wife existed in the past and she is existing now and she will certainly exist in the future. So the insecurity is the feeling as a result. So what you're trying to do is to make secure. For that, the assumption would be either stability or security. Either of the one you have to assume, then the other is got. For some people, they search for stability and they get security, or they search for security and they get stability. And both are fabricated. They are not true. That is what really happens in the waking state. Any questions, Lata, concerns or whatever?
So, in the waking state, what you are trying to say is there is an experience of continuity.
Yes.
And then, because of this continuity, you keep searching for either of that,
Yes.
stability and security.
Correct.
You keep searching for it.
Correct.
And then it continues in a cycle.
Yes.
So, that's what you are trying to say.
Yes.
So, the end result is not actually security or stability, we are just trying to search for it.
Exactly. You keep on searching
If
for
you
it.
don't have, if you are eternal and there is no time and there is no past, present, and future, then there is no anxiety and then no question of stability and security comes in the picture.
Exactly. So you are always secure and stable to begin with,
Correct.
which is Turiya.
Yeah.
So this how is not there in Upanishad. This how is there in Buddha. So
Which how?
how to do this, right? How to get into this state of understanding what is there in waking state. The question is, how will I do it? The answer, what we looked yesterday, is what you should do. It doesn't say how. Mandukya Upanishad doesn't say how. Do you think you had how yesterday? Or you got what?
No, but even now, today also I didn't get how.
Wait, I'm yet to complete the waking state itself. I've just scratched the surface.
Okay.
Okay. So, what is the...
Lata has been searching for this. All the more you delay telling how she's not going to.
Yes. So,
No, yesterday we discussed, right? That we discussed that if you consider something we discussed, I forgot now. Yeah, the same breath everybody is having. It is like trying to get into that Virat
correct.
root, the
That is-
meditation of that.
yes.
That is the
Right.
how part of it, right?
That is one of the how part of it. That will only happen if you have experienced the other realities. Right. See, now I'll say, why don't you watch breath of everyone in stomach and all that? Can you really do that and experience that bliss? If you can, then you have learned how to do it.
I don't have to look at others' breath and all, but anyway, during the time when I was reading that Virat, that Bhagavad Gita chapter 11 on one
Yes.
day, that full time I was in bliss because I could, as and when I was reading it, I was kind of getting it, and many things were coming up, and all that Krishna stories, different things were coming to me.
Okay.
So that time I was able to.
See, now what you should look at is a huge form in front of you.
Mm.
See, the mind knows how to create images. So, because you are the mind and you are having two dimensions, one worldly dimensions, one outwardly dimensions, or out of the world dimensions. So, what it generally does is that it has an ability to know little and create the remaining.
Mm.
So that you, whoever is that you, has to be very careful of not stepping like that. So it gives you information which is correct, but doesn't focus on how. The 11th chapter, he says what it is. It doesn't mean that you cannot see it. That I am not saying. You will see it, but it is not direct. It is not, anybody can see it. So like in,
Yeah, that is true.
so in the Shankaracharya, when he attained, it's not that he did not attain. That is foolishness to argue. That I don't think so, he was realized or liberated or whatever. That is real stupidity of putting it, because he has experienced both. But what he couldn't explain, or rather enumerate, is the how part of the last thing. How does one do it? That is, how does one get into Turiya? Right? If I can get into Turiya only, I can then experience. Otherwise, how would I experience? So, yesterday, that steps what we followed, what we went through, 6 plus 6, 12, and the consequence or the result, which is another 6, is the result. So, that 6 plus 6, 12 will give you the result, but that's a jumping, right?
Mm.
So, we should have got that yesterday itself, correct?
Yeah.
So, then today's meeting should be on what? How was your experience of waking, dream and deep sleep and Turiya, right?
Mm.
But we are not doing it. We are still back in the same place.
Okay.
Aren't we, or aren't we not?
Yeah, we are in the same place. We have not moved forward.
Yes. So now
We've understood intellectually what exactly is waking and all that. Anyway, we know it already.
yes.
So it just has been put in a theory form, yes.
So did you or did I or did Padma Shri experience that Turiya yesterday?
I did not experience. I don't know whether you experienced, Vilas.
No, I what I experienced, you leave it. Now, no, as we simultaneously do this discussion, we three should experience, right?
Yeah.
But did we experience?
No.
So that only answers what should be done.
Mm.
I'm not trying to propose that we should become Buddhist or whatever. No, that is
No. I'm just trying to understand. So we have been discussing this quite a lot, right?
Yes, so I this time around I thought I will also have to introduce you to the last step. Otherwise, every time I come and say, there is a last step.
Yeah, and you don't say anything.
I don't say anything, and that creates unnecessary either expectation or worry that what is this last step, or it makes mind anxious to know what the last step is.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me go with the last step and see how these steps then look.
Okay.
Okay. So continuity is not indicated in the Mandukya Upanishad from whatever we read from the last 3-4 days. Agree?
Mm. I agree.
So can you experience continuity in your mind? If you experience continuity, then you can do what to do with that. If you don't experience continuity, you cannot really do anything.
Mm.
Right? There is continuity, right?
Correct, there is continuity.
Now the question comes, why do you feel continuous? So now we have understood there is continuity, there is permanence, a feeling of permanence, and then we also understood that we are in search of stability and security, and you take one, assume one, the other one is not, and you assume the other one, you get this one. Depends on what a person is searching for. So one can be searching for security, he'll get stability. If he's searching for stability, he'll get security. That's a conclusion as of now.
Correct.
Isn't it the fact?
Yeah, that's the fact. Every day we are trying to do that. Stability and security.
This how portion is not there in waking state, what we looked into it. It said, what is waking? How to understand waking? Did you really had it?
No.
No. So this is what Buddha teaching is all about. So now we have understood how from the same Upanishad, the same Mandukya Upanishad, there is nothing different in that. But the way you see it becomes different. Okay. Now we have, how do we see? So we see permanence. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Now if you seek permanence, you should have been always stable and always secure, right?
Yeah, correct.
Then why it is not there? Yeah.
This part,
Yeah.
So the mind is the one which feels that it is always permanent and eternal.
Correct.
Why that gets that feeling? Because behind that there is a consciousness which is lighting it up, and that consciousness is permanent anyway, and that is borrowed by the mind. The mind thinks it is.
Right. Agree. But do you experience that? The question now what we are going to do is get into how. How do you experience?
So no. This is anyway a theory because we have discussed so much.
Yes.
So Chidabhasa and all that. And mind is borrowing everything from the consciousness. So that is why this permanent feeling is coming.
Correct. Agreed. So what is to be known, we have known now.
Yes.
But how to experience is not what we have known.
Yes, that's true.
So now we are treading into how to experience that. So first thing is we understand that we are in search of permanence. Yes, that is coming from consciousness, agreed. But do we really feel conscious about that consciousness?
No.
No. Why? Now it's only how and why. How to do it and why. When you start dealing with how, you get why things work this way.
What's the question? I lost it.
Even I lost it.
Maybe Padmashri remembers.
Yeah, Padmashri, you need to ask the question also. I totally lost it.
Now, why don't we feel? See, we all know that in the active state, the feeling of permanence is coming because of consciousness. But do we realize that there is a consciousness? We said no. Then we asked why we don't realize that there is a consciousness.
Yes, right. Why don't we see this consciousness?
Because in that stage where we are more the consciousness which is there. It is in the background, and there are so many things which are masking that. Because the moment I start to feel the feeling of permanence, I am looking at what next, and my activities and actions are all associated with that. My thoughts, in comparison, and will I be stable in this stage, in that stage? All these things are the active things which the mind dominates over the consciousness. And though intellectually we know that the whole thing is because of the consciousness, there is no time for me to look at the consciousness.
Yeah, so actually, since we are in the spiritual path, we know there's something called consciousness or something like Atma. But then think about somebody who doesn't know anything. So I'm just trying to imagine that. And that person has never a feeling of consciousness or anything. Even though we know that theoretically that consciousness is there behind, but still we don't feel.
Right.
We become ignorant of that. Meaning it is equivalent we are equivalent to people who don't know that there is a consciousness, because we don't experience that at all.
Right.
We know it, but we don't experience it. So that is the ignorance that we are having in the awake state. If in the awake state that ignorance is gone, then that becomes the Turiya state.
Correct. Absolutely. 100 marks. And that's what it all means. You can shift yourself from waking to Turiya. You don't have to go to sleep and dream and sleep state. Okay, now coming back to this why. India wants to know why.
Vilas wants to know why. Because of the ego.
No, that again becomes theory. Today we are going to demolish the whole theoretical foundation.
Yeah.
I was taking a bath in this morning and I got all the vision. So I was thinking that, this is the good way to start today.
Yeah, that's good. I am enjoying it.
Otherwise, by now you would have finished that shloka and gone to the next one and all that. And would have started with Om, what is Ma and all that. Why is the question.
We don't maybe separately realize consciousness because we are that. It's second nature or first nature to us.
Okay, so that means we don't require this at all.
No. It is like that because and that you don't realize. I don't know how
Correct.
to say that.
No, that is what Padma Shri also said, ignorance, avidya, all that is correct. So what's the difference between a person who doesn't believe in consciousness and the person who believes in consciousness? What's the difference?
There is no difference. Actually, I don't see any difference in me or somebody who has no idea about spirituality.
Yes. So then why are we wasting our time then?
Yeah, correct. That's what I keep also thinking sometimes.
It is slightly different from the sense that you just take the case of swimming or cycling. Okay, in the beginning, when you are really swimming or trying to swim or trying to cycle, you are trying to find that balance, that very thin feeling of balance. But moment that comes to you, you're no longer you never. I don't think you ever think of balance when you get on a cycle after that. Once you have realized, got it. So it's a consciousness is something like that, meaning it is there. So you know that it is there. That is the perhaps that is the only difference between a person who does not realize there is consciousness and a person who realizes that there is consciousness. But then you not thinking about it is the way of life, meaning that is how most of us are. And why we don't think is, I think that is the way we are all built. Meaning it is given to us that the way we grow up. I can say that we were having the same mentality as a child, we would have realized that consciousness. But we don't have that mentality of a child. That is the reason we don't realize that the consciousness is behind. But then the only difference for us is that we are like people who have learned already cycle. We know that fact that the balance is there, and that is why I'm able to ride the cycle. But whether we are all the time thinking about balance when I'm sitting on the cycle once I learned it, no, I don't think we are thinking about it.
Okay. Then what happens? That was a good example of cycle. Okay. So now who is riding the cycle? We'll say the person, or because we are spiritually inclined, we'll say consciousness. The only two things can happen. Either we'll say that the person driving the cycle or the consciousness is doing the cycle.
I would say it is the mind which is the person which is on the cycle. And
Yes.
the balance that it has is the consciousness. But the mind is not thinking about the consciousness. The mind is the one which is running, making its own ways, finding the directions and running. Mind is the one which is sitting on the cycle and moving. The fact that it is able to do that is the consciousness, is because of the balance that we are having. We are all aware that that is there when we are learning, but when we have learned it, we have not. Meaning that is the difference between the intellectual and intellectually knowing it.
Okay. Yeah, Lata, expert comment from you.
I don't have any comments. I only whatever Padma Shri told you. So it is part of you, and that's the reason you don't realize there is a consciousness. The only one time I have realized, or many times I have realized, is when you are doing an awareness meditation, and then you are really watchful of your mind all the time. Then you can see that it is there is something called consciousness. And you are that.
You are absolutely.
So that's the only time, or that's the many times I have faced that. So I know that it's there, but then it is not there all the time. I don't get that.
Yes, so you are right that there is no awareness, there is no jagrata.
Hmm.
That jagrata avastha is called as Turiya. If you
Okay, so there is no awareness, or there is no mindfulness in whatever we are doing, and that's why you don't recognize consciousness.
Yes.
So there is no jagrata in jagrata state.
Yes, you are actually in dream state. because that is conditioned by the five senses. So now we come to the main teaching of Buddha, which is conditioned dependent origin.
So actually, I am always pretending to be myself. That is the problem, because I'm in that pretense. I have lost the actual me. I'm always pretending to be me, because me has to do all these things. So I'm pretending to be me, and hence I have lost what is there inside.
Yes, you're right. So to answer to the question why, there is no awareness. And why there is no awareness? Because of dependency. And what creates dependency are the conditions. So when conditions create dependency, the mind learns from whatever it should do and starts doing, ignoring the awareness. And that's why we are called as in waking state. So since the mind can copy whatever consciousness can do, and still not aware of that consciousness, we find permanency. Because there is a past, there is a present, and there is a future. So when there is a future, there are hopes. So to add some more to what really happens is that when the consciousness is not seen or experienced, I first create a story. So the consequence of permanency, or the consequence of looking as continuous, is a story. So we have a story. Okay. And like that, we have many stories. When I was young, I was doing this. Too, I am doing this, I am doing that, or I'll be doing this, or I'll be doing that. So the past, present, future gets created, and that is called as prapancha. And one prapancha is created, it will create the experiential reality of that prapancha, which is driven by the five sense object. So the permanency and continuous existence, if we were to see how it starts, is because of the waking state. Because all the senses are attached to the sense object, so now that creates continuous. And once that continuous feeling is got, the consciousness need not be there because it is continuous. So I either feel secure or I will either feel stable. And I'm in search of that feeling of secure and stable. So the waking state is permanence, or rather a creation of mind stability and security. Even if you don't have to use the word permanence. So becomes nitya. So this is what Shankara says, that you have to understand the nitya and anitya. That's the viveka what you need to have. He doesn't say how, he says what. And Buddha answers how here, that first you investigate the mind and see what is this. When I say I am awake, what's the feeling you're getting? So he categorized it into feeling and perception. What the mind does is that it feels. So the permanence is felt, the stability is felt, and the security is felt. It's all feeling. And because it is felt, it is also perceived accordingly. So this person keeps on running pillar to post for that stability and security. So this is called as nicha. It is, there is no arising and there is no passing away. It's continuous. Nothing arises and nothing passes away. It gives that a feel of that I exist and I continue to exist and I'm continuously going to exist forever. If not in this body, in some other body, that is consequential, so I cannot do anything about it, but I'll try to secure as much as possible. So each one of us, whether it is COVID or this or that, we want to secure. So the only way we have found security is two. One is through money or through insurance. And both are supposed to be securing. Because if you don't have money, then you cannot buy. So if you cannot buy security. So if you want to buy security, you need to have money. And the moment you have money, it makes you feel stable. That I am now stable. Let's say I lose the job. That becomes unstable and hence insecure. I have a job, then a feeling of stability is there. I'm again mark this word feeling. So the feeling of security is there, then you should have a feeling of stability. Or if you feel stable about the job, that is I am in the same team for long period of time, working on the same kind of projects and working with the same kind of environment, then I find it as stable and hence secure. After some time, I start to feel bored of that project. That we will come out later. What really is a next step in that. So this feeling of stability and security gives us the next thing called as dreams. I dream. I have lot of desires to accomplish and hence I dream. So I say dream come true. I want my dreams to come true. Okay, so that's what I want to do. I want my dreams to work out. So in the past it has worked out or it has failed, but in the present I will put my effort. So in the future my dream will come true. So now we are going into the next state called as dream. Any question on this waking of how to identify? See, what we just now did is the how part is to identify. We did not get into a solution. We only looked at how this works in order to find a solution. Is convincing, confusing?
Yeah, it is convincing.
Okay, so it is, now we go into dream. Now what happens in the dream state? We already have done the what, but I'm asking you.
What is the question, Vilas?
What happens, just like what happens in the waking state, now we have come to what happens in the dream state. When a dream it doesn't mean that you're sleeping, right? The dreams. I dream of becoming a VP of a company. That's a dream. I dream to buy a car. I dream to buy a home. I dream to buy insurance or whatever. Those dreams are dream anyway. What is the state you feel in a dream?
So you imagine.
Yes.
Something in the future that will be happening.
Yes. So there is only future. And how does the future look for everyone?
Bright.
Yes. So it's always sukha. Right?
Yes.
So dreams are always sukha. So what did we find is that we found nitya or nicha actually in Pali. which Sanskritized will become Nitya, but that becomes permanence. But what he spoke about was that there's no arising and passing away, and hence it is stable and secure. If something is stable and secure all the time, then you should be always in sukha. So all our dreams are sukha. I don't think so anybody dreams that he should be in dukkha. So how this world presents, I'm talking to the how, is that it presents as sukha. Because there is future. So what did I do with present and past in the dream?
That is erased. So you always dream about a future sukha. Even if you are now in the suffering state, you will assume that there will be a sukha coming up.
Yes. And actually what did I do is that I did not erase. I ignored the past and the present. That's what mind can do. So whenever there is a future projection, the projection, right? So we take a sales projection, we take a monetary projection, career projection, future asset projection. Like I want to compare my home next 5 years, how much would be its resale cost. So I dream of getting 2 crores and I have invested in shares and mutual fund and all of that. So now I dream of being a millionaire or billionaire by so and so year, because future is always bright and hence sukha. Agree? So how does the world look in dream?
Vilas, this how portion, I have one question I want to ask. When we are continuously, this time continuity, past, present and future, and this is the one which is really making us the fact that, okay, the stability portion, and then because we will get affected in the future, if I'm not stable, how do I secure myself? And hence this insurance, and hence the money for the future. Okay. So we are working on all these kinds of things. But the moment we are taught, or we are teaching our mind to only focus on the present, meaning at any point in time only focus on the present. Perhaps that is the how that we can really look at the awareness.
Yes. So when we are in awareness meditation, you have only present. You don't have the past and the future. And hence you are always happy. So that is the how. How to get out of that is awareness meditation. And that is what Turiya is all about, and that is what Nirvana is all about as per Buddha. So they both merge at the same point. The only difference between what we are dealing in Upanishad is it says what you should achieve, but doesn't talk about how in a real, what I can say, obvious manner. It is subtle, meaning it's not that it's not at all there. That will be an overkill saying that no, it doesn't have the how portion. It has, only few people can understand how. And everybody can understand what. Yes, you are absolutely right, Padmashri. If we have to be in the present moment, then the present moment is awareness only. It's not thought awareness, it is just awareness. And we can add a word dhyana, which is meditation. So it is awareness meditation. If we were to practice all the time, then you are always in the present. But if we forget doing that, we again go back to the past or to the future. And that is what the meditation, what Buddha taught on awareness meditation or awareness. And that is what Upanishad teaches us on Turiya. Both are same.
And that is how most of the people who are, when you say that creativity, that painters, and when they are deeply involved in what they are doing, they are only in the present.
Yes.
And that is why that stage is equivalent to Turiya.
Yes, absolutely. Even you are also there in Turiya when you don't have anyone or anything at all. When you don't remember anything at all, and you are engrossed in whatever you are doing at that moment, then you are in Turiya.
The only problem is we don't recognize it.
No, you don't even recognize, nor you can stay in that.
Yeah.
Both are not there.
Not recognizing is okay, because not recognizing is the very essence of being in Turiya, right? Meaning, if you start to recognize, you're outside the Turiya. Meaning, you're already understanding that you're outside the Turiya.
No, it's
So
not like that. No, it's not like that. You get complete awareness. See, the awareness what we are getting, like a painter or a sculptor or a scientist or a software developer, as whatever we are doing, is through ignorance. It's like a deep sleep state. Okay.
I would differ there a little bit, because it may be the moment you do that awareness, meaning the fact that I am aware itself is the fact that I is there.
No, this is where we've been discussing, which you are right. I don't say it is wrong. But when you really experience Turiya with awareness, meaning when you are aware of Turiya or the fourth state, you will really see what I am trying to say. Otherwise, you will always feel there is an I. Because that is how it seems.
So, I understood what you're trying to say, because I have experienced that.
Yeah, but then, Lata, when you said you have experienced that, but the moment you get a feeling that the mind is already recognizing that state, you're out of it.
No, it is not like that. For which you had experience. So nobody can explain to you.
I am just trying to see how to explain. I'm not getting words to explain, actually.
You will not get. And this is what Lata was pestering me for months together.
And I didn't know what I was pestering for, actually. Really.
Yeah,
I need to go for a meeting. That's
yeah, say,
people have
okay.
joined.
All right. So we will continue tomorrow on the dream state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Good day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.